I am clutching my notes because I have got so much in my brain that I just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to tell you anything that's in here. But first of all, there we go. The sparkles. Thank you so much for having me and asking me. I was absolutely thrilled to be asked to come and talk to you about basically my favourite time of year, which is Christmas. And I guess what I want to talk to you about today is I know that especially for sales and sales teams and people that are trying to generate covers and pre-book revenue for Christmas, it can feel completely overwhelming. And ultimately, hopefully by the end of this 25 to 30 minutes, I'll have shown you that actually if you just break it down, it can be accomplished and it can be achieved. For those who've worked with me before, don't worry, I'm not going to whip out a Christmas cracker costume and ask you to come and dress up. That has been done in the past, but ultimately I'm just going to try and share some of my experience that I've had as a salesperson in hospitality over the last 14, 15 years. And if you all just take one nugget of information of what I've said, I'll be absolutely thrilled. Okay, so just, I guess, a bit of credibility for me, just that experience I'm talking about. As Dan mentioned, I spent my most of my sales career, actually, right up until now at Revolution Bars Group. So I started in the sales team back in 2011 up in Newcastle upon Tyne, and I have to say, I started in September, and the Christmas inquiries hit me like a tidal wave, and I didn't know what to do, where I was at, what my name was, what I was doing, and I kind of vowed that I would never, ever, ever be in that situation again. And I wasn't. And then in 2013, I moved into a national role, which is when I met Dan, so 9 years ago, which is crazy. And I looked after the northern region of Revs. And I think the biggest lesson I learned looking after a big region was that no venue or location is the same, and actually what you do in one place may work, but also more likely might not work in another place, and that is ultimately down to your kind of core demographic and the location and the people that you're trying to attract and target. So I learned loads of lessons, and I did that for 5 years, and then I moved into the southern region so I could kind of tackle London and get London under my belt, and eventually I ended up as head of sales for Revolution Bars Group. And I'm really, really proud to say that I was part of that team that delivered 7 years of growth at Christmas through pre-booked during my time there. Now, however, in June this year, I've just moved over to Rare Restaurant Group, so I'm the head of sales for Gaucho, M Restaurants and the Crane Tap, so primarily in London with a few national sites. But what I've really learned in my 3.5 months so far is the power of covers driving, and that has really kind of changed my perception on what Christmas should be. Previously, it's all about the pre-booked events, that's it. You just say PBR and I could say it 1,000 times till I'm kind of blue in the face, but actually, if you combine pre-booked events and groups with covers driving and driving restaurant bookings and covers, there's real power in that, and that's how you're ultimately going to fill your bars, restaurants, venues through the Christmas period. Okay, next slide. Okay, so back to 2011. This was me. No, it wasn't. Back to the point about how Christmas can feel totally overwhelming. It completely can. It absolutely can. The run-up to Christmas is already busy. September to December is a really busy time of year for everyone. People kind of come back from some holidays and everyone wants to have events and do things and go out. And then you have the added layer of Christmas inquiries coming in, kind of flying at you. So those volume of inquiries increase, and then sales teams have much, much bigger targets to hit across the Christmas period, which can feel overwhelming and daunting. And then even when you've kind of converted all those event inquiries and you're thinking, yes, I've absolutely nailed it, I've hit my targets, this is all great, the event planning comes into play. So it's kind of like a never-ending whirlwind that is kind of condensed into kind of 3 months. And then I asked my new sales team, so the team that I joined in June, just recently, how they feel about Christmas. And this is some of the things they said to me. So they've got too many inquiries to handle. Busy all the time, they don't feel like they've got any downtime. Too much pressure to hit their sales targets. I mean, I didn't set them, so it's not me to blame. They feel like they've run out of time. We're only in September. And they're saying, I've run out of time, I can't get it all done. Too busy, they're too busy. I keep hearing, I'm too busy, I've got too much to do. Too much event planning, too much admin to do. No one wants to confirm their bookings, and ultimately they keep saying to me, I don't know how I'm going to do it all. And that's fine, and there's, and actually I guess the key that I've kind of uncovered is they're not using their booking system properly. So when we come and talk about technology, the harder you can get your booking system to work for you, Collins, OpenTable, Bookertable, etc., the easier it's going to be for you to convert all those sales at Christmas. So you don't have to feel like that, and this is what I keep saying to my team now. You don't have to feel like this. We're going to feel like this year because we've started Christmas late in the year. But you don't have to feel like that. And I guess what I'm going to share in the next few slides, hopefully, is how if you extend your Christmas campaign throughout the whole year, you hopefully won't feel like this, although there will be that pinch point for sure. So this is how in 2023 I've told my sales team I'd really like them to feel, and I guess same for you guys as well in the run-up to Christmas. Ta-da! And we absolutely can get there. Christmas is a year-long campaign. If you start Christmas in September, it's all going to come all in one go. If you start Christmas in January, hopefully you'll feel a bit more like this in the run into it. So the first thing then, and I guess you're sat here thinking, why are you telling me that? It's the 20th of September, like there's nothing I can do about it right now. I'm telling you, and I guess I'm talking to you about it now, I wanted you to go away from today with, these are some things I can do right now for this Christmas, but also for next year, if I did some of these things, it could be a bit easier for me. So don't just impact this year, but also can impact next year as well. So step one, plan your Christmas. It seems like the easiest thing, just, absolutely, I'm going to plan Christmas, but there's some real key things that you need to think about. First thing, there we go. When will your first Christmas bookings be? I've experienced Christmas bookings coming in as early as the 10th of November. Not many. I think typically you're probably looking about the 21st of November this year, maybe the week before. But again, that's entirely down to your kind of calendar and what you can deliver as a restaurant or a bar. How do you feel your midweek and off-peak days? That's the question, isn't it? Are you targeting corporates? Hopefully everyone is. Are you targeting students? If you're in a student city, I've seen students be kind of 40% of a site's pre-book revenue previously and make their Christmas. So students can be absolutely key to the success of a Christmas campaign. Which days will be your peak days? Really, really key to look at this. And we're kind of looking this year, 7th, 8th, 9th, 14th, 15th, 16th will be the key booking dates. And that's different from your peak operational dates. Everyone will want those 2 weekends. Your operational key dates will be kind of that week commencing the 18th of December. That'll be your real peak there for walk-ins. When will Black Friday be? Should be the 23rd of December. Whether it will be or not is another question. You'll probably see it fall 16th or the 23rd and a split between the two, but that 23rd should be a really big one. And then the question I always get asked is, when should New Year's Eve go live? So we always go through all the way up to December and so much focus on it, and then suddenly it's New Year's Eve and we're running around like headless chickens trying to get, Tom knows, we've been there, trying to get New Year's Eve out. Based on the information and the questions that I've asked my teams in the past and my current team, they've all said to me, if we could just have the New Year's Eve information at the beginning of November, we can get it live, we can get it out there, we don't have to worry about it through December, let it do its thing, and then all the bookings will come in at the end of Christmas. And then World Cup dates. So I didn't touch too much on this because I knew Amber was going to talk about World Cup. So I haven't got much more insight to share with you about that. But make sure you know when they are and how it's going to impact your business. And then last of all, we've got, is Thursday the new Friday? Yeah, I think it is. In London, for sure, it's definitely the new Friday. Those of you that have been in the city on a Friday, it's absolutely dead. So I would say yes, it is. In London, definitely. We're definitely seeing, and what I'm seeing at the moment is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the kind of peak inquiry dates, and that's when everyone wants to have their Christmas bookings. In the north, that trend tends to come slightly later. So I think in the north, yes, Thursday is the new Friday, especially for corporate bookings, but I think Fridays will still be really strong for bookings. I've got way too many animations on this, sorry. Okay, next step. Be prepared. Seems obvious, right? But I can tell you now, I walked into the business in June. We were not prepared for Christmas, so I've spent lots of time getting us there. So, yeah, pretty standard. Make sure your menus are finalised. Both your kind of in-restaurant, if you're a restaurant, menus, and your groups menus, if you're a bar or restaurant. Is your group pricing finalised? Do your sales teams know what they can sell and when? This is a key one. Is your booking system loaded with all the info? Remember, the harder you can get your booking system to work for you, the easier Christmas will be. And then, is your booking system set to take inquiries or automated bookings? Loads of booking systems do that now, no matter, I imagine most of you use Collins or OpenTable or Bookatable. All those systems, you can automate bookings, so we should absolutely be setting as many of those up to be automated as possible. Have you done your minimum spends? Key for sales team? Have you got your key dates and events planned for? Have you got a sales target? If you've got a sales team, they absolutely need a sales target, so they know they're doing a great job, hopefully. And then, have you got any proactive activity planned out over the coming months? And then, are all your marketing plans in place? So they're all the kind of things you need to be thinking about to be prepared. Okay, the next part then is understanding your bookers. So here's where my notes come into play because my brain went wild. Okay, so when you break down Christmas bookings into its simplest form, you've got 3 group types. You've got pre-book groups, so that's anything from your kind of large, exclusive, full venue hire, big corporates, loads of money, splashing it around, right through to it might be a table of 10 that's, a company that just want to come and have a small table. You've then got dinner and drinks reservations. So these are the people that are, booking with their friends or their family. They want to come kind of last minute bookings, really. They just want to come and enjoy food or drinks in your establishment. And then you've got experience bookers. So these are people that are looking for something else to do. They might be looking for a festive brunch, or they might be looking for festive doggy disco or something fun along those lines that really gives them a reason to come to your venues. So if we think about pre-book groups, at Christmas and on the run-up to Christmas, you're going to have more of these than ever before than the rest of the year inquiring. So these typically inquire maybe 2, 3, 4 months in advance. And if you're looking at real exclusive hires, you're going to get these all the way up, looking to book all the way up until the end of October. Come November, your big exclusive hires will probably have booked somewhere already. And I guess the key about these pre-book groups and these big ones is that these are the people that will typically try and book your off-peak dates, so your midweek. I spent years and years and years telling my sales team, just move them from that Friday to that Tuesday. It's easy. Give them some Prosecco. It's not a thing. I can tell you now, that is not a thing. If they want to book a Friday, they're dead set on a Friday. They don't matter which Friday it is necessarily, but moving them to a Tuesday probably isn't going to work. But there are some real key groups of people that will book on different days. So your retailers, for example, will typically book on a Sunday. So you could host a big retail event and try and get lots of them in on a Sunday. Your student groups will book Monday to Wednesday, typically. So you could try and kind of fill those midweek dates that way. You've then got your dinner and reservations. So if we go back to that, these are your core guests. They want to come, they want to book dinner tables or drinks tables in your venue. And this is where your booking system comes into play. So if you use any of the major booking platforms, like I mentioned, Collins, OpenTable, Bookatable, 7 Rooms, this is where you can set these up to do the hard work so you don't have to. I guess the tips there is to ensure your availability is wide open. So you've got all your tables set up, all the ones you want to sell. And the thing that I've learned more recently is set up your capabilities to drive the shoulders of the session. So basically, everyone wants to come at 7 or 7:30, so you limit your 7 and 7:30 availability and you open up wide your 6:30 and your 8 o'clock availability. People will book either side of your peak time, and then closer to the day, like maybe 3 or 4 days out, you can open up any availability that's left at 7 or 7:30, knowing that you'll definitely fill it. And then throughout the pandemic, we had a whole bit about no-shows. So I walked into Gaucho and they didn't have no-shows set up. So Christmas is a peak time. Ensure you've got your no-show charging set up if you haven't already. And then don't forget to leave space for your walk-ins. There's literally nothing worse than trying to go out and not being able to get in anywhere or not being able to get a table anywhere because absolutely everything is booked. So walk-ins are not on this list, but they would probably be 0.4 really of your kind of customer groups. Walk-ins are so important. For future, if people can't walk in at Christmas, they're probably not going to come any other time of the year. And then experience bookers are the last ones. So pre-booked groups and reservations will make up the core bulk of your kind of sales target, but your experience bookers are basically the opportunity for you to add some sparkle to Christmas, add a reason to visit. So like I said, it could be a doggy disco, it could be a makeup masterclass partnership with, a makeup brand, in your local department store. It could be a festive themed brunch. It could be breakfast with Santa for the family just to fill your kind of Sunday morning up. And ultimately, these experiences will give existing guests a reason to choose you, but also attract new guests, and they will help you increase your spend per head across that festive period, especially in those off-peak dates. Okay. Sorry, that's a lot of information. Okay, next step then. We're nearly there. Okay, so just talked a lot about a lot of stuff. So I just wanted to really break down then about building your corporate plan. Corporate should build up the key part of your pre-booked for Christmas. It should come from corporate. So we'll start with large corporate at the bottom of the Christmas tree. And this is how I break this down. You might have a different way of doing it. I just wanted to share my experience and what I've done with my teams that has worked in the past. So we split our corporates into large corporates and local corporates. So if we're talking about large corporates, these should be formed from the largest companies in your town or city. You might only have like 10 or 15 of these that are on your like most wanted hit list, absolutely desperate to work with these guys. They should hold events and have employees working in the town or city. They will likely want to book an exclusive hire, and that's what we want. And you might only get one exclusive hire in your Christmas period, but if that's on a Wednesday evening or a Thursday evening, that could make or break that week in revenue. And you're probably looking at a 10K plus Christmas party from one of these guys. So they're your large ones. Local corporates, before we move on to local, large corporates, how do we find them? How do we know who they are? So the first thing I ask my teams to do, just Google top businesses, largest businesses in Manchester, largest businesses in Glasgow, you normally get some kind of list. So that's a good place to start. You can obviously use LinkedIn in the company search, but then an absolute gem that discovered in the last couple of years, I don't know if any of you have used it, it's called Endall Explorer. It's a website, Endall Explorer. You go on there, you can type in your postcode, put all the parameters you're looking for, and it just brings up the top businesses in that postcode, which is great. And you can type in a town or a city as well. So I'd 100% recommend using that. It's free to use. You can pay for it, but you don't need to. So I don't think we ever have. Endall Explorer, absolute nugget. Okay, and then local corporates. So you know who your biggest corporates are. They're your biggest businesses in your town or city. Your local corporates then. These are within a kind of 10-minute walk from your front door. So these are the people that, you know, you should be able to walk to them, they should be able to walk to you, and you should be engaging with them all year round. You probably want to have around 25 of these that you're actively building relationships with at all times. And ultimately, you might get an exclusive booking out of these, but you're more likely to get a departmental booking or a couple of department bookings or a smaller office group. Or they're more likely to be a slightly smaller business that actually you can get a little room hire or private dining room, etc. So how do we find these? So you can do all the stuff that I just said, use Endall, Google, but the best way I've ever found of finding these local corporates is using Yell.com. And you just go onto Yell.com, type in your postcode, and it'll bring up all the businesses within that postcode, or you might type in, actually, I want to know who all the recruitment companies are because I know recruiters in Manchester have absolutely loads of money to spend and they're always going out. So you could type in recruitment companies, Manchester, and it will bring all the recruitment companies up that are in your location. Absolute genius. And then I guess the other way you could do this is there's nothing better, in my opinion, than opening the front door of your venue and going for a walk for 10 minutes in every single direction and working out who works where, what businesses are where, and you always find businesses that you've never seen before. The next step then is, so you've done your large corporates and that's built your kind of big exclusive booking, hopefully, that's given you a real solid foundation. You've kind of topped up with your local corporates, so they're giving you some great room hires, departmental bookings, some real like solid stuff, solid bookings throughout the week. Then you want to kind of top this up again with your real local businesses, students and retailers. And by local businesses, I mean like hairdressers and, you know, you go around to all your retail and you talk to them about Christmas. You want to fill your students in at this point. And the reason that these businesses are further up this tree than corporates is because your large corporate typically tends to book between January and June. Your local corporates tend to book between kind of May and September. And then your local businesses, students and retailers, really book in October and November. So they come much later in the year. There's no need to spend time and energy focusing on students in February. So no need for that. And then very lastly, at the very top of the tree, we've got celebration or occasion. And by those, I mean, these are the people that are just coming for festive brunch, or they're coming out for their birthday in December, or they're just going for dinner with their family or with their friends, or, you know, they've just come back from uni and they just want to meet up with the people that they used to go to school with. And these are real last-minute bookings. And in kind of old world, I would have called these glitter. This is just like literally sprinkling on the top, and these should just become your reservations. So that really is the icing on the cake and filling in all the little gaps that you should have left if you build your Christmas plan in this way. Oh, there's some sparkle. That's great. Okay, just going to leave this up here. This is like my mantra. I tell everyone that ever works in my team this. The key to winning corporate business is just to be proactive in your approach to relationship building. You will be so lucky if people just come to you and they're like, hey, I want to build a relationship with your venue. Like, that's an amazing position to be in, but it doesn't happen very often. So actually it's down to you guys as operators, salespeople, marketing, to really, really be proactive, and you go out there and, you know, say to these big companies that you want to work with, or, you know, all your local retailers, like, hey, let's build a relationship, like, let's be friends, like, how can we work together? Ultimately, they get something out of it, great place to book their events and Christmas party, and we get their events and Christmas party. So yeah, be proactive. Okay, nearly there. Right, timeline. So, yeah, we're on the 20th of September. So this doesn't really apply for this year, but I did want to share with you how I personally, where I would fit things in, based on my kind of experience and knowledge and what I've seen in the past, across the year. So you can kind of take this for next year and build your own version of it. I have just popped in the bottom here just a reminder of like large corporates inquire at the beginning of the year, local corporates in the middle of the year, retail students, and then your occasion bookings right at the end. But here we go. So January and February. Next year, in the role that I'm in January, probably the first or second week, we will do a full Christmas review so I can fully understand everything that happened at Christmas this year and pull together the plan for next year. I will also have my team phoning all the Christmas bookings, biggest to smallest, asking for feedback if we haven't received any already, and also asking them if they want to save the date for Christmas 2023. And we'll do a save the date campaign, no deposit required immediately, but we'll do a deposit by, like the end of March, and we'll give them X, whatever that offer or promotion might look like. Then in probably April, May, we'll do a spring venue showcase. We won't mention the word Christmas at this point. We'll just be like, look at our amazing restaurants, our amazing venue, look at all this space you can book, and we'll invite all our past Christmas bookers to come and enjoy the venue, but they'll also be working on generating new business as well, and they'll invite these just to see the venue, meet them, and this is a real key step in building that relationship, that long-lasting relationship. Then we'll launch our Christmas packages in May, which feels really early, but it's not. June and July, we'll finalise menus and strategy. And I guess what I have learnt this year is that restaurants don't always have their menus ready and can't have their menus ready because they're so reliant on local produce and suppliers, etc. So actually finalising menus, telling the guests this is exactly what you'll be eating in February is never going to work. So we need to finalise them later in the year. That's a key learning point for me. I'll then have my sales team proactively, so now we'll be talking about Christmas. So June and July we'll be saying, right guys, I know it's the summer, but let's start talking about Christmas to some of these people that we've just spent 6 months building relationships with. Let's proactively ask them about it. We'll finalise our booking system setup and make sure our books are ready, so open table, book a table, we'll make sure they're all ready to go. As soon as people are ready to start booking, so are we. In September, we'll host Christmas showcases. So this is very similar to the spring showcase, but it'll be all about Christmas. You don't necessarily need to dress your venue up as, with a big Christmas tree and all singing, all dancing. The point of these Christmas showcases is that you get to show potential bookers how good you are, and that they can trust you with their Christmas party. We'll launch New Year's Eve tickets, fingers crossed, in November. And then really October, November, December, the sales team will have spent their whole year doing loads of proactive work that by October, they'll just have all their time to just deal with the reactive inquiries and convert, rather than having to go out and desperately find some new bookings, because we'll have done all that work and all those people we'll have spoken to, they'll start inquiring. December, event delivery, the best part. So that's a bit of a top-line timeline of what I personally am going to do next year. Like I said at the beginning, though, every venue, restaurant, bar is completely different, and what works for me won't necessarily work everywhere. But again, this is what has worked for me in the past, and this is what I'm going to do next year, and I wanted to share with you. And then I did, last of all, want to share with you, it's not too late, we haven't missed it, we have not missed Christmas, it's the 20th of September, and, maybe if it comes up, here we go. So this is how we're kind of predicting bookings to come in. So this is groups, so this is anything that's that pre-book group. Blue is 2019, orange is 2021, and what I'm expecting this year is that September actually has been busier than it was in 2021. I'm expecting October to be busier as well, as in number of inquiries that come in, but I'm expecting less to happen in November because we don't have the pandemic and the COVID impact there, and I think December will be about the same. So that's the groups. And then reservations, which is the kind of sprinkle dust, fairy dust on the top. We're expecting the timeline to look more like this. So your groups will come earlier in the year, and it will peak in October and November. Your reservations, so this might be your tables for 2, 3, etc., should come later. So when you're thinking about what to do first and what to do next, know that your reservations actually December, that's people going online and thinking, I want to go somewhere tonight, there's 4 of us, where do I go? And that's why it's really, really important to have your booking system set up properly. Because the more your system can do for you, the less you need to do personally there. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I'm expecting it to look very similar this year. Hopefully, it will be more. That's it from me. Thank you.